Greetings one, greetings all, back out in the shop. Kind of an exciting day. So I've been, obviously whenever I do a project I lay awake at night and think of stuff. And then at work when I'm driving around I think of stuff. So I wanted to make some changes to the machine, as you know. I already cut the track and shortened it up so it fits the new tub. But the problem is there's nothing left of the track. There's no lugs left on the track for traction, something to grab the snow and pull. It's all worn down. These old vintage sleds didn't have much for traction to begin with, so a lot of guys would put cleats on them. They'd put U-shaped pieces of steel on the track. They'd bolt it to the track to get more traction in the snow. I thought, okay, I'll do that. But then I got to thinking, by the time I go to the steel yard, buy channel iron, cut it up, drill holes in the track, bolt it to the track, I could probably find a used snowmobile track off of something that has rubber paddles on it that would work better and it would probably be cheaper. And yeah, I was right. I found a kid out in western Wisconsin that had a track. It looked really good. It looked like it would fit right up to my traction wheels. The thing that's important is this is the drive axle. Okay, so these sprockets have to mesh with the openings in the track to pull the track forward. So the width spacing has to be the same on your donor track, and the spacing between your gears has to be the same, so as it rolls it meshes in with that track. Here, let me show you. So here's the old track, here's the drive gear. See how that meshes in there, and then as it rolls, see that? So that's kind of critical, okay? This is the drive sprocket assembly that I'm using, except I got to replace the wheels because, watch this. "40 years old plastic, and it's all brittle, it just shatters." So I'm on the quest right now to get replacement drive sprocket gears, and I can get them. I found them on Amazon, I think, and I found some on eBay, but they're not cheap. They're like $26 a piece, and I need two, so that's 50 bucks just in two plastic drive gears. Finding good used ones is next to impossible because the machine is that old, so all the plastic is that brittle, so you pretty much need new drive gears. So that's a bullet I'm gonna have to bite. But I was poking around on the internet and I found this kid that had a track. He seemed desperate to sell it. Seemed like he needed money. I offered him 50 bucks. He said he'd take it. We had plans last night to meet at a gas station, make the transaction. I just wanted the measurements off of those openings on the track. You know, I gotta know the distance from here to here and from here to here and how wide these openings are. That's critical. Doesn't do me any good to buy a track from a Articat ZR500 if it doesn't mesh with the drive gears on my drive axle. So I wanted him to measure that, and he said, yeah, I'll figure that out for you. Never heard back from him. So the wife and I are sitting at the restaurant after we had our fish fry, and we're all ready to go down there and make this track transaction, and he never replied. So I think what happened is he had somebody offer him more than 50 bucks for the track, and he went with that guy. That's kind of shitty. But anyway, irregardless, this morning over coffee and a pipe, I'm sitting there poking around again on Facebook Marketplace, and I found another track that looked like it would work. So I contacted that guy, and he was really nice. He's going to get a great rating on Facebook Marketplace because he was really nice guy, and he communicated well. Judging by the looks of the track, I said, it was a studded track to boot. I said, hey, I'll just come out and look at it. And during the conversation, because he was closer, during the conversation he says, oh, do you need drive gears for that sled? And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I got a pair of brand new drive gears for one of those old Skidoo Olympic 74 era sleds. I'm like, serious? I'm like, hell yeah. How much you gotta have? I don't know, 25 bucks for the pair. I'm like, sweet. So I took a ride down there, and yeah. So I picked up the track. I brought a section of the track with me. I brought drive gears, the drive cog wheel assembly. I'm gonna check it right now, in fact. I think it's gonna work. But this track is off of an Arctic Cat. The only thing I don't like about it is the openings for the drive gears are bigger. But we were talking about it, and like he said, I don't think that's going to make that big of a difference, because as that gear is rotating through the track, it's actually going to be pulling down like this. And see how I'm pushing the track down? It's going to be pulling down, and it'll always be meshed up against this. So however wide this opening is, I don't think really makes that big of a difference. Not only that, but this machine is not going to go 80, 90 miles an hour. It's only going to do 15, 20 at the tops. So there's not a lot of torque, high-speed torque there, that would cause that gear to want to skip out of the track. And if I have the track tensioned really tight, it should work. So based on that, he sold me the track for 75 bucks with studs. Then, gets better, my bogey wheels. Okay, so here's my bogey wheels. All right, look at them. They're just butter. Look at that. All rubber rotted, dried out, just awful. Did some pricing around, found a company that sells them, 20 bucks a wheel. Just the rubber wheel, not the metal, okay? I need, well, for this one I need 8 of them. That's money I don't want to spend. So while he's digging around in the box, he pulls out the drive gears that he said he had, and he's got the rubber rears, not the front plastics. I need the rubber rears. Here's my rubber rears. Look at them. Look at that. All rotted, chunked out. Those ain't gonna do me no good. Brand new. Never been used. And when he's in the box, he goes, oh, there's 4 brand new bogey wheel assemblies in here, complete with the metal wheel. You need those? I'm like, shit, I was gonna pay 20 bucks just for the rubber wheel, and I got the whole assembly. I just gotta figure out how to mount it. I don't know how to take them apart. I'll figure it out. Sold me the whole lot, 125 bucks. I'm like, sweet. So I'll have a good track with, I mean, those paddles on there. I hope they clear my tunnel. That's the only thing I'm worried about. These paddles on here are, let me take a measurement once. Look like they're 3/4 inch. Yep, 3/4 inch high paddles. Track is in really good shape. I hope there's enough clearance between the drive sprocket off the motor and the tunnel so that I can run this track. Otherwise the lugs are going to rub on the underside of the tunnel, and then I'm going to have a problem. I tried to take a measurement. I tried to put the drive gear in, put the track on, hang the track from the ceiling so it was tensioned, and tried to get a measurement from the track to the tunnel. and I couldn't get an accurate measurement. It just didn't want to behave right. So I hope it's going to work. If not, I'm going to be sitting there with a cutoff wheel, cutting a ½ inch off of a bunch of those paddles to make it work. That's going to suck. But anyway, so it's been a good morning. I went out to Menards. I got some material. I got some paint to paint. Oh yeah, I got the tunnel back from the sandblaster. All sandblasted, pretty. So they knocked the paint off and the rust off of that. So that's ready for paint. And I need to get paint on there right away before it decides it wants to rust more. The only thing that's fortunate here is that it's the middle of winter and the humidity's down, so I don't think it'll rust that fast. But I've got some more welding and fabrication I got to do on that, because what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to raise the suspension on the sled ½ to 1 inch. So if you look on the tunnel, I'm spinning it around here. So if you look on this tunnel, these are the tabs that the bogey wheel assemblies mount to, okay? So in this particular position, it puts the track about that far from the bottom edge of the tunnel. I'm gonna add ½ to 1 inch to each one of these brackets to drop the bogey assemblies down. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna give this track a bowed effect. It's gonna be rounded, all right? These two bogies right here will be lower, which will make the track have a slope up in the back, and more importantly, a slope in the front. That will help the machine climb out of deep snow. It will also decrease the footprint in the center of the tunnel, where the track is making contact with the ground, which will then make the machine easier to turn. I've watched some of these videos on YouTube where guys have they've just chopped off a front of a sled. The average track length is 5 feet, 60 inches. They chop it off, they build their machine, they go out, they find out it doesn't want to turn very well on a flat surface. So to turn it, if the machine is flat, you got to push the handlebars this way or push the handlebars that way. And the more surface area you have on the contact with the ground, the more friction you have, and the harder it is to turn that machine when it's just sitting flat. When you're carving through the snow, like a snowboard, then it's no issue. The longer track is advantageous because longer track means more traction, more footprint in the snow, more digging power, etc., etc. But when you're on flat ground, like early ice or late ice when there is no snow, and you want to be able to turn your machine, or if you're on a snowmobile trail, like I'm going to do, you want to turn your machine, you literally have to push those handlebars to get that thing to spin. So, and it's twisting on the ground. So the shorter the footprint, the easier it'll turn. That's my theory. So I'm going to have a track that comes down, just a short section of flat, and then goes back up. When I get in the deeper snow, it'll want to climb. When I get on the flat surface, it'll turn. Pivot point. That's my theory. So anyway, today's project is to get the tunnel up on the jack stands, do some welding, see if I can extend those bogey wheel assemblies down ½ inch or so, put the lift kit in basically. Think and see if there's any other brackets or gizmos or gadgets or anything that I have to weld onto this machine, and get all the welding done. And once the welding is done on the tunnel, then I can paint it. So I bought some primer and some paint, and we'll get some paint on it, get it all protected so it gets to dry. That's a project today. If I have any time, I got all weekend. I planned on playing with this all weekend. If I got any time this weekend, tomorrow or whatever, I'm actually going to take this new track and cut it up and get it ready. I've got to order plastic drive sprockets for the front axle. That's $50. And oh, I bought a headlight. This will be cool. My Menards had these pretty cheap. The new LED off-road lights. This thing puts out 3,200 lumens. It's got a spotlight mode. The center LEDs are spotlight to shoot like a high beam, and then the side ones are angled a little bit to make sure you have flood action off to the side. So yeah, this little guy was 40 bucks. Yeah, I think this is going to work perfect, and this will get mounted up on the top of the hood for a headlight, and so I'm pretty jacked about that. I bought a battery hold down system. My engine has electric start, so I'm going to utilize that. I'm also going to utilize the charging system in the motor to charge a battery, which will then run my headlights. I might even put grip warmers on this. I might put a charging port for my cell phone, cigarette lighter, things like that. So I gotta have a battery hold down system for that. So that's what I'm gonna work on today is work on this tunnel, fabricate as much as I can, get the welding on it that I need to do done as much as I can, so that it's ready for paint. So stick around.